Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and all fans of Stargate everywhere. Welcome to what we are lovingly going to call the Wraith Showcase. That's right, people have been asking for this for well over a year for the Wraith, and now they are getting there. They're not done, but they are accessible now, and they are playable. But there's still balancing work to do. So let's start where we should start, the very beginning. So we will start with the frigates. As you can already see over here, there's the hive, the Titans. So let's get in with the frigates so we can get to the Titans quickly. Now the frigates are quite friggin' diddy, as you can see. So the first one up is the Guide Scout. This is your scout vessel. It scouts planets. Now, the engines still need an effect. I believe I'm able to do that. We shall see. The model may need some adjustments. But as you can see, this is the Guide Scout. It is lightly armed, only 10 plasma damage at maximum level, but heavy armor and no shields. Because as we all know, the Wraith didn't have shields. They had very thick armor. So this is all max level stuff at current balance. Bear that in mind, that is at current balance, and the balance is in the process of changing. So then from the Guide Scout, we move on to the Eternal Light Frigate. These are the early game vessels, you know, and such. Very pretty model. Very pretty indeed. Then we move on to, if I'm not mistaken, the Scar Long Range Frigate. Kinda looks like a Covenant warship, doesn't it? Like an assault cruiser or something, but I can assure you it is a Wraith design. It's designed on the Wraith. Because in the show, the Wraith had cruisers and hives. That was pretty much it. So we're spitballing a lot of this based on artwork and such. Ooh.
Unity, light our path.
Unfortunately, yeah, there are no voices, but at the end of the video there will be a demonstration of how to send us your voice if you think you would be good for the role. So let's get some fighters out of this as well. Oh, the Ori have just turned up, but I don't think they can spawn in because I've disabled hyperspacing. So here are Wraith darts compared to the size of this thing. And the Wraith dart model is very nice and detailed, as you can see. But yes, Wraith darts are not much bigger than this. The number of Wraith darts may drop quite significantly, as with a small fleet like this, how many darts can I get?
We are sworn to
Only
avenge.
2. But if I go over to the current
Your
cruiser
desires?
roster, that's 6, and then if we look at the
Unleash
capitals,
our
that's
wrath.
another 32. And let's have a quick count of how many Wraith darts that deploys. That's 4. So it deploys 7 darts each. 7 times 32 equals lag. So yes, that will probably be reduced. Next we have the Bombardment Cruiser, which is strange because it's on the frigate line. But here it is. Now this is gone. What? This is your planetary bombardment ship. Well, planetary bombardment frigate, because all of the capital ships can bombard planets, and most of the cruisers as well, actually. That was something that the Wraith can do quite well. As you can see, high amounts of health and a lot of armor, also exceedingly high damage right now, which will be adjusted. Then we have the Precision Defense Vessel. Now this has low damage, because this is the anti-fighter. It is designed for killing fighters, and that is what it excels at. Moving on from that, we have the Eratus Colony Vessel. It is a small colony ship. You can sort of see the hive type design coming through a little bit here, but still not quite there, still pretty small. And finally, we have the Hive Corvette, or the Hound Corvette class, sorry, that is also using the model of the Guide Scout, just like the Precision Defense Vessel and the Bombardment Vessel. So that is the cruiser,
Who must
that's
suffer?
the frigate line, sorry. Let's move on to the current modelled cruisers. Now, obviously, we have the Wraith Heavy Cruiser. This one we've seen from the shows. You know, this is not new. It is pretty, but it's not a new type of ship or a new design. This we've seen. And we also have the Last Light Support Cruiser. This is a bit of a different design, I will admit. It's also got some tearing through the ship that might need to be addressed. I will have to mention that. What's next to it? We have the Lilin Cruiser. Or the Lilin Cruiser. Or, sorry, carrier. It is a cruiser, but it is a carrier ship. So it has some pretty hefty weapons to it, but it's mainly designed for carrying additional fighter craft. And finally, of the modelled ones, we have the Bone White Support Cruiser, which is a very interesting design. It's kind of dart-shaped, but I like it. It looks good. Now, moving on to the things that you guys want to see. The planet. No, the capital vessels. So let's start at the beginning. We have the Cold Amber Battle Hive. This is the standard hive ship design. It has some pretty hefty armor, max level, and firepower, let's be honest. That's probably going to be toned down just a little, or adjusted at the very least. Moving on from that, we have the Hive
Reconnaissance
Carrier.
reveals that a pirate raid is forming.
Is it? Good. We have the Hive Carrier. This one, not so heavily armoured, just as heavy armed, if not more, but more command points. So
Our
more
vengeance
fighters.
is yours.
Again, still no voices. Then from that, if I'm not mistaken, we have the Keeper Colony Vessel, which is like a large version of the Euretus, really. And then we have the Nightwind Siege class, which uses the same model, but has a heavier class of firepower. And over here, we have the
Pirate
Steel
raiders have left their
Flower
base.
Support class. This is a, well, it's a support class. It's kind of in the name. It's not got much special, pretty hefty armor, pretty hefty firepower. These are probably going to be making up the bulk of your fleet in the beginning. And then moving on, we have the same model, but the primary battle cruiser. Now this uses, I do believe, heavy plasma. So it's going to leave a mark, that's for sure. But again, these things subject to change due to the balancing. Now, the things that you really, really wanted to see. These giant things over here. The things that dwarf all of their ships. Yes. Well, we'll start with the one that everyone probably recognizes from the final episodes of Atlantis. The Wraith Super Hive. This is the ZPM fueled hive that was grown by, I do believe it was Todd, in the final few episodes after stealing ZPMs from Atlantis. It is huge and heavily armed with heavy plasma cannons. It also needs some adjustment because it is weaker than a cold amber at maximum level. So yeah, that needs some adjustments. And then the one that probably is very peculiar to you, everyone. The Quicksilver Wraith Hive. It's an interesting design, I will admit that. It's taken some aspects from the Super Hive, that's for sure, and it's expanded upon some. It's got this almost crocodile mouth type structure in the middle, which personally, I think might be a bit of a weakness, but it's a Wraith ship, so we can never really tell. But yes, that is the current roster, not entirely, because we also have bomber squadrons. Now remember how big the Wraith darts were compared to the what was it? The long scar, wasn't it? Yes. Here is a Wraith bomber compared to the super hive, and it's gone.
Unleash
And this thing
wrath.
can deploy a few Wraith darts. Enough that you can probably see them from a slightly longer range. There you go. Yes, this is a slightly ridiculous amount of Wraith darts. While accurate, I'm not sure the game will like it. But the size comparison is quite noticeable. But that's not all. We also have structures. So let's go over to our base and we will plunk down one of every structure.
Structure complete. Structure complete. More research is needed.
I believe I had set that up, but apparently I had not.
More research is needed. Structure complete.
Or perhaps they have not been linked as of yet. Interesting.
Structure complete.
Ah, it's the
Structure
Temple of Harmony, my mistake.
Structure complete.
So I actually have 8 frigate factories.
Structure complete. Structure complete.
There we go. Please ignore this gigantic cannon. This is going to be going and is not part of the Wraith fleet. So where to start? Well, shall we start with the Titan factory, as it is demanding our attention with its imposing presence. As you can tell, this is quite a considerably large vessel. Well, an incredibly large space station. But the thing it builds is also incredibly large, so we'll get and let it get away with it. There is some rather large Stargates kicking around, which obviously work as portal stabilizers for, well, hyperspace stabilizers for jumps. These, I do believe, are actually retextured base game currently. This one is a Temple of Harmony. This is the, well, as we have seen, the civilian research. As you can see, it's got this lovely retexture job done on it. And there's the Temple of Hostility, which is our wartime type one. Above it, what is this? A repair platform. I believe this is a retextured base game asset. I could be wrong on that one. Hangar defense. This is a remodeled asset. It's very pretty, very dangerous looking if you fly too close to it. What else is around? Capital Ship Factory. It's like a huge bug that builds things. It's slightly terrifying, I'll be honest. Stop it. But it also looks pretty damn cool. Next to it we have one of our many frigate factories that I built because I'm an idiot, which builds our smaller ships. You can definitely tell the size difference. It also builds the cruisers, doesn't it? What else is around? Plasma defense battery, or plasma defense platform. Those are some big guns on a tiny platform. Very large. We do have a refinery. That is a retextured base game asset at current. And I do believe that the extractors are also retextured base game. They are. However, the refiners are mildly modelled Wraith ships. They're not big floating cubes like we have had in the past. And I believe still do have. We should probably fix that. What else is there? Ah, yes. I forgot about it. It's the big thing here, the Wraith Royal Court. Now, I'm not certain, but this model does look like a lot like the model for the Wraith Starbase in Homeworld's Stargate Conflict. And I'm not certain, but I think it might be. But I do believe that we were given permission to use it. But again, not certain. And that is where you spawn your heroes. What heroes are currently in the game? We have a Hive Queen. We have the Nightwind. We have the Keeper from the very first 2 episodes of Atlantis. We've got Todd. Gotta love Todd. And we've got Michael. Currently, all of them just spawn in hives. That will be adjusted, of course, to suit. But that is the plan for that. What else do we have? Repair platform we've seen. Beam defense platform. Now this is a semi-texture job and a semi-model job. This is a very early version of the beam platform. It will probably look something a little different when it is finished. But yes, I think that pretty much covers all of the Wraith's current retextures and existing remodels. Oh, no, we've got the trade port. There's the trade port. Shut up. And her little trade things, which are the same as our refiners. But yes. I believe that pretty much... just trading amongst myself. Yep, that sounds about right. I believe that pretty much covers the entire of the Wraith roster at the moment. Now that is subject to change, and again, balance changes are due to come. So keep your eyes out. And now, for what I promised, how to get your voice into our mod. So, to get to our voice additions, you need to go onto your browser of choice, click the taskbar, go to castingcall.club. Once that loads up, you may well need to create an account. Once you've created your account, if you scroll down and go to project contains and type in Stargate, and then scroll back up, there is Stargate Invasion Wraith Voices. Once you're in here, you can see there are multiple voices going for all of the ships and such, some male, some female. And just send us your audition and we will check you out and see if you fit the role.